in the cruel theatre of Kenyan streets, where the powerful prey upon the powerless with impunity. Another life was extinguished today with the cold precision of state-sanctioned violence. A masked vendor, an unarmed man simply trying to earn his daily bread, was shot point-blank in the head by police officers along Moi Avenue in Nairobi's central business district. The bitter irony cuts deeper than any blade. In a nation whose leadership promised to champion the hustler, it is the hustlers themselves who are being systematically executed by those sworn to protect them. This unnamed vendor, identified by MP Miliad Himbo as hailing from Suba in Homa Bay County, embodied everything this government claims to represent. He was not a politician seeking power, not a wealthy elite demanding privilege, not a criminal threatening society. He was a hustler in the truest sense, a man who saw opportunity in chaos, who carried masks to sell during protests, understanding that tear gas and demonstrations create demand for protective face coverings. In any just society, such entrepreneurial spirit would be celebrated. In Kenya today, it is met with bullets. The video evidence is as damning as it is heartbreaking. 2 officers approached the man as he stood beside a building. One shoved him aggressively, while the other raised his firearm and shot him in the head without any visible provocation. There was no struggle, no resistance, no threat. There was only a man trying to make a living, and officers who decided his life was worthless. We Mempigari Sasikwa Kichwa. A voice lamented in the background as the officers turned and walked away, their duty apparently complete. This execution for, that is what it was, occurs against the backdrop of mounting outrage over the police murder of Albert Ojwang, whose only crime was exercising his constitutional right to free speech. The pattern is as clear as it is chilling. Kenyan security forces have declared war on the very people this government claims to serve. The hustlers who voted for change, believing in promises of economic empowerment and social justice, now find themselves targets of state violence whenever they dare to demand accountability. The profound tragedy lies not just in another life cut short, but in what this death represents. As one observer noted, this man was eking a living with his masks, probably a family man, a husband, father and son, and you kill and walk away. This was not collateral damage. In some greater conflict, this was the deliberate targeting of vulnerability, the systematic crushing of those who have no power to fight back. The timing could not be more grotesque. As Deputy Inspector General Eliud Lagat resigned under pressure for fostering a culture of police brutality, his officers were busy creating new victims. As politicians spoke of reform and accountability, boots on the ground were delivering execution-style justice to street vendors. The disconnect between rhetoric and reality has never been more stark or more deadly. MP Miliad Hayambo's words in the National Assembly captured the despair of communities under siege. The police are doing a disservice to this government. We make 5 steps forward, and they bring us behind. What will I tell the Suba people? As Homa Bay, we are tired. This exhaustion, this bone-deep weariness with violence, speaks to a nation traumatized by its own security apparatus. The mask vendor's death exposes the fundamental lie at the heart of Kenya's current political dispensation. This was supposed to be the government of the common person, the administration that would lift up the small trader, the roadside entrepreneur, the hustler trying to make something from nothing. Instead, it has become the government that kills hustlers for the crime of existing in public spaces, for daring to pursue their livelihood where those in power find it inconvenient. There is a special cruelty in shooting a man selling masks during protests about police brutality. It is as if the officers wanted to send a message, not even the most innocent commerce, The most basic survival instinct will be tolerated. The mask vendor understood the market. He brought a product that people needed in that moment and place. For this display of entrepreneurial acumen, he was rewarded with death. Kenya stands at a crossroads tonight. Another family mourns. Another community rages. Another video circulates, showing the casual brutality with which police treat Kenyan lives. The mask vendor joins Albert Ojwang in the growing pantheon of those whose only crime was being vulnerable in a system that has weaponized power against its own people. The hustler nation promised by this government has become a killing field, where hustlers are hunted. The bottom-up economic approach has been replaced by a bottom-up targeting system, where those at the bottom face state violence simply for trying to climb up. The vendor who died today was not protesting. He was working. He was not threatening anyone. He was serving customers. He was not breaking any law. He was practicing capitalism at its most basic level. His death is not just a tragedy, it is an indictment. An indictment of a system that talks about empowering the common person, while its agents murder them in broad daylight. An indictment of a leadership that has failed to control the very forces supposed to maintain order. An indictment of a society that allows such violence to become routine. As Kenya grapples with yet another extrajudicial killing, the questions multiply while answers remain elusive. When will the killings stop? When will accountability begin? When will the hustlers this government claims to represent be safe to hustle? The mask vendor cannot answer these questions. He lies silenced forever. Another casualty in a war being waged against the very people power is meant to serve. His death demands more than condemnation. It demands action, justice, and fundamental reform. Anything less makes us all complicit in the systematic destruction of the hustler's dream, a dream that today, once again, ended in a pool of blood on a Nairobi street.